you all for coming to Bob's tonight. And I see a lot of first-timers here. How many people, I know you're first-timers here maybe for the hockey happy hour, but how many people together, first time ever here? Right? So pretty good number. Make sure you let them know that you came here because of the surge. And it's the surge that brought you here. I'm sure that once you enjoy your dinner, you'll want to come back because it is pretty good food here. Of course, as always, we've got Jeff Bes here, the coach. And then we've got just back from a tour in the ECHL, goaltender Nick Eno. Some of you may not even have heard that Nick came back and joined us. It happened kind of in the cloak of darkness. But Nick is back, so we're going to visit with him tonight. And we also have Kiefer Knockout Smiley here as well. We'll talk with them too. As always, with a lot of people here. Anytime, just raise your hand and fire off your questions, and we'll get them to either Jeff, Kiefer, or Nick, or whoever. But we'll start with how the team's been doing lately, and since we last gathered here, they've been doing pretty well. Won 5 of the last 6. Jeff, is there one thing that's maybe been a key?
Nope. Right there we go. We were as good as our last game. We won our last game, but the game before that we lost. Or the 2 games before that we lost, I'm sorry. We're just trying to focus on the game that we have at hand, the game that we need to play that's coming up. And we've got a big game tomorrow on a long bus ride. And that's what we prepared for today in practice, and that's what we're looking forward to.
Now with that, with the... No? Is that better?
Yes.
Right. There we go. Sorry about that. We got the Mississippi River Kings coming up tomorrow. I'm sure they probably look at it that it's one game, but they've also been a red-hot team. They've won 7 of their last 10 games, I think it is.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
We look at it. We're trying to focus on what we do. And when we do the things in practice...
Kiefer, your order's ready.
There you go.
When we do the things that we work on, we're very successful. And that's what we're trying to focus on right now. Obviously, I do a lot of watching of tape, the games they play against us, the River Kings, what they do, how they do it, how their power play runs, how they do their penalty kill, their breakouts, or forecheck. So I do that, and I get a game plan ready for the guys, and we're focused on what we need to do to be successful.
You talked about focusing on watching teams, their power play, their penalty kill. Last Friday, the 2-1 win at Pensacola, penalty kill was a key part of that win for the Surge. Killed off 6 opportunities, and what's maybe more amazing is you had no power play chances of your own in that game. And that I know always kind of raises an eyebrow, but obviously the penalty killing did well in that game for you.
Penalty kill did well that game. It's been struggling. We haven't been doing as good as we should on the penalty kill. It's been struggling. We're trying to change a few things up. You did mention you didn't get a power play in that game. And that's just part of the league as well. The referees in this league are young. They're just starting out just like most players are. And they're learning and trying to do the best they can. Obviously that team didn't have any infractions against us.
Nick, your order is ready. Nick?
Go. Yeah, go ahead.
That they thought was necessary, but all in all, we played a good game. 2-1. It's always good to beat Pensacola. I hate Pensacola. I think every player does as well as every fan. So that was good, and to beat them in their building. So it was a big confidence builder for our team, and we played decent on Sunday. We came out a little bit flat. We scored right in the beginning of the game. First 5 minutes, so we came out a little bit flat, but once we got going, it was exciting. We played real well.
We talked a little about yesterday's game, and maybe a little bit flat, but the goal that kind of sort of jump-started, Mark Pulowski scored a goal with, 2.6 seconds left or something in the period. I've always heard that a goal late in the period gives a team like an extra jolt, so when there's 2 seconds left, now you go in the locker room just down a goal. It's like, guys, way to go, huh?
It was exciting. And Mark, one of the newer guys that we brought into the team, he's a very energetic fella, and he was quite excited about it. And his enthusiasm and energy carries over in the dressing room. And he certainly got the boys going, and they were quite happy for him. Yeah, and anytime you score a goal in the last minute of the game or minute of the period, it's always a momentum builder, but you got to follow it up. You got to follow it up and go back out and start the period again.
Go ahead. Surge did that yesterday. Came out and then outscored Fayetteville 3-1 in the first period. Another late goal. Sean Skelly got the goal with less than a minute to go, answering back a goal. It put you back on top. And then, third period, you score in the last minute again. Granted, an empty net goal. Granted. Come on, folks. Granted, right?
Yeah.
Jeff Grant with the goal.
Yeah, I get
and
that.
The hat trick just right over everybody's head. But Jeff Grant had the hat. Oh, there she's got it now. Yeah. Oh, but here, guys just picked up on that too. Everybody's just eating it. But you know, another. It's good to get an empty net goal. I mean, it really kind of puts a cap on a victory. I know it's always frustrating to give them up, but you score an empty net goal and get a chance to celebrate a hat trick. That's great.
It is. You touched on in the second period. They scored with a minute 50, which was a defensive breakdown by a guy on our team to let them score, and it showed good character by our team to come back out and score in the last minute as well. Sean Skelly to answer that. As I said earlier, it's always good to come out after you score at the end of a period, but the momentum and keeping the momentum or changing the momentum in a game, if you score a goal or get a goal scored upon you, the next shift is the biggest shift of the game. You got to go out there that much harder. You got to be that much more focused and that much more prepared to either keep the momentum going or to change the momentum. And we did that at the end of the second period and scored a goal there right after they had scored to change the momentum and have a good feeling going in the locker room. And yeah, getting an empty net goal, Jeff Grant, one of the hardest working players on the team, getting rewarded with 3 goals, a hat trick. That was good to see. He's been a little bit snake bitten by scoring goals. It's not through not getting the chances or not his work ethic. So that was good to see, and hopefully more to come from him.
I say so. Jeff Grant getting a hat trick yesterday against Fayetteville, and the Surge get their 3rd win of the season against Fayetteville. Now, the weekend before this past one, the Surge were at Fayetteville for a couple of hotly contested games. Let's put it that way. And we'll let Kiefer finish his sandwich, and we'll talk to him a little bit about his role in those games. But everybody kind of focuses on the goalie altercations, but really,
CC, your order's ready.
what was it that sparked that? Because there was a lot going on besides just the goalies, huh?
There was a lot going on in that game. It was back and forth. It was hard hitting. They were trying to intimidate us in their own building, and we stood up to them. We stood up to them as a team. We became team tough, and it was something we've been talking about and something we've been striving for, is sticking up for the guy beside you. Because you know he's going to stick up for you, you're going to stick up for him. Doesn't mean you have to fight all the time. It could be, battling for loose pucks in the corners, loose pucks in front of the net. You know your guy's going to be there to help you out. A little bit of a ruckus stirred up there, and everybody on the ice came down, even the goalie, straight down the ice, just take it on and show them, hey, they're not going to push us around here. And it was really good to see. The guys were really happy. The guys were proud of each other. And, it's a great step in building team character and team bonding and becoming a team, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was just saying, it kind of escalated when former Surge player, you guys probably remember Mike Brown from here last year. I mean, he was the one, and I don't remember who the players who were involved, but he went into the face-off circle and pulled one of the Surge players off of a Fayetteville guy. I don't remember who that was at that time on that Friday night, but that's kind of what it looked like to me, the spark that sort of escalated everything.
Well, it all started actually on the board with an elbow to Mark Steve Litwin's head by one of their defensemen, and it was pretty nasty. He knocked his helmet off, and our guy jumped right in there. I think it was Adam Stewart. Stewart jumped right. I can't be positive on that. Sometimes, you get mixed up with the names and the numbers.
Yeah, they'll remind us.
Stewart jumped in right there, of course. Yeah, so Stewart jumped in and stood up for Steve. You got to do that when he's your leading scorer. You got to protect him, as it would have been for anybody else. And that's what we want. And that's what we want to teach. And that's what we want to build as a team. Is you stick up for your teammate. And that's what they did. And it was real good to see. And it was a turning point, especially in that weekend and for us, because we weren't playing as good as we probably could have. or should have been playing at the time, but from that point on, we picked it up and we started playing better, and ultimately won the game that Friday night. And then Sunday,
deja vu all over again.
Ding ding, round 2. But it was good. We needed to do that. We came out. We wanted to do on Sunday yesterday. We wanted to come out and get on them right away. Get lots of shots, lots of goals right away. Well, the more shots we had, the more opportunities we were to score goals, and we were fortunate enough that we got 3 goals in the first period, and chased that goaltender out of the game. And we were happy with how we did that, and we beat up one of the goalies, so we had to go and beat up the other one, I guess.
Well, I guess it's not quite finished yet, but we'll get with Kiefer here now and talk a little bit about those games, and especially Friday night, where you were the one that skated the length of the ice. Again, like Jeff says, everybody all for one kind of thing. What was it that you saw? Had you been in a fight before?
Nope, never.
Never.
I don't know. I saw after I think our second goal, Brown was pretty upset about it. I think he thought it was high stick, and he's obviously everybody kind of knows he's a hothead, and you can hear him yelling from the other end of the ice pretty loud. You could tell he was worked up, and then the scrum escalated, and he came out of his net. I saw his blocker come off and grab somebody out of our team, so I figured, all for one.
It's go time, huh?
That was my call. So
Yeah.
Did you look over to the bench at all, thinking you might see a stop sign or anything?
Yeah, because in juniors you get a pretty big suspension for crossing the blue line or red line or something. So, I'm used to being told not to go. But I took a quick look over at the bench and I saw Jeff Grant hanging halfway over the boards, giving me the windmill. That was all I needed.
So, kind of like a third base coach, so they can come on home, like that. Everything. So Grant really
And
was.
then your Sunday's ready.
Grant was very instrumental here then in the last little bit because he turned you loose and gets the hat trick. So now you get down to the end of the night. You've never been into a fight before, and obviously with your guys' gear on, it seems like it would be even harder to try to throw the punches.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of just went in there thinking I wasn't going to let him get the first punch in on me, and I just went straight at him. Adrenaline kind of took over. I grabbed on, and he was a little wobbly on his feet and fell over right away. So I ended up looking like I was on top of him there.
Kara, you said something there?
Were you aware of the fact that Brown had said a couple days before that he was going to show you a lesson on the ice that game?
He was going to show you who was boss.
He posted that on Facebook the night before or the day?
No, it was 2 days prior. Were you aware of that?
No, I wasn't aware of that actually.
He said he was going to teach you a lesson on the ice.
And we saw that, and it's like, okay, he taught who the lesson?
Yeah, well, we were pretty proud of you.
Hearing that, where does that come from? Because it was the first time we played him all year. Did you know Brown from?
No, well, we had played Brown. I think he was on Louisiana.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we got off on the wrong foot by any means, but I guess if he had something to say, that's fine. I mean, he's a bit of a talker, it seems like anyway. But as long as we're beating him, I'm okay with whatever he has to say.
You won't be necessarily sitting next to him at the next meeting of the Goaltenders Union.
No.
Yeah. Now then, so what happens on Sunday? 5 goals against Brown in 2 periods. He gets yanked out of the game, and then another blow up. And Eric Hudson, who I understand you do know,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Hudson and I actually go quite a ways back. When I was 16, we tried out for the same team together. He was actually already on the team, and he's actually a really friendly guy, and got to know him real well throughout the camp and whatnot. And he didn't actually want to fight. He was, just like our team. I mean, all for one, right? And team tough, and because of what had happened the Friday night. It was his job to come down, and I mean, two guys in a game that's already out of hand for them, two guys that are buddies with each other, they're not gonna have that kill each other emotion. So he kind of talked to me. He asked me how's it going while we were. It was in good fun. It was a lot less spirited than the night or 2 nights before with Brown.
Right. Now, did you notice, it was hard for me kind of watching it, not being there, but I noticed, you know, as obviously you were being ejected from the game, you had to skate over to the bench in the penalty box, and Eric Hudson had also obviously been ejected, so Mike Brown now has to come back into the game and re-enter the game. He did not go right to the net. You know, he was hanging around the bench. He looked like he wanted to
Cash,
speak.
your order's ready.
He looked like he wanted to speak with you a little more.
Yeah, I was kind of confused about that. I mean, I had just fought, and fighting is pretty tiring actually, so I wasn't about to go again unless I had to. And I know he did do a news statement saying that he was going to come down and you know, whatever, fight me or whatever. But if he wanted to, he had the chance there because I was still out there. But he just skated around at the red line yelling and never really made any significant moves at me.
Did any of that carry over into this game yesterday then? Before the game, was it going through your mind at all?
I wondered what he was going to think, and I wasn't sure if he was quiet or not. And right from warm-up, I kind of gave him a bit of looks and saw where his head was at, and it seemed like he was trying to really get focused for the game, and so I thought it was kind of over with. But then, of course, as soon as the game gets out of hand there with 7 seconds left, he was trying to wave me on again. But
I wondered if you were seeing that, because it looked like he was gesturing down towards the end of the ice when he came back after the empty net goal.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a goalie. I'm not a fighter, so if I have to stick up for my team, that's what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to go looking for a fight with Brown, especially when we seem to be scoring quite a few goals on him lately.
Keep him in the game.
Yeah.
As Kiefer was talking about that, he says, you know, I'm a goalie, not a fighter. You folks couldn't see it over here. Nick broke out into a smile here and a grin from ear to ear. So, you know, before we get into your experience in the ECHL over the last 6 weeks or so, have you ever been in a fight? No. And of course, in college, you get kicked out even if you're a non-goalie. So it's not like either of you guys are going to be going to Billy Sears looking for advice or anything, huh?
No.
You won't be doing that.
They're going to Kiefer now.
Yeah. Sears is coming to Kiefer.
I was going to say, because I don't know if you watched your video, but it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like we don't expect to see that out of you.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It seemed to go all right, I guess. But.
So, yeah. Now, Nick, talk a little bit about what it was like being up in the ECHL. You first got called up to Wheeling, correct? And then went over to Gwinnett in Georgia. So talk a little about that experience and what that was like.
It was good. I mean, obviously I didn't get to play, which kind of stunk. But other than that, I mean, it was good skating with some of those guys. Next level.
I mean, obviously the practices. I mean, you're still seeing the quality of shots from the ECHL type of players. Are you worried about maybe being a little bit rusty since you haven't seen any actual game action? And
Not really. I'm actually kind of excited. In a way, like, I try to take away from it, like, positive that, I guess, not playing got me excited to, like, play again. So, I mean, I'm excited.
kind of capture the hunger again.
Yeah, finish off the rest of the season strong.
And Jeff, I know you said that, you know, you've got 2 goalies that the team is very confident in either case, and you're pleased with both of them.
Oh, extremely pleased with both of them. You know, with Nick being called up, it gave Kiefer an opportunity to play a lot of games and get some games under his belt and get his confidence going as well. So myself as a coach and the team in itself is very, we're very fortunate to have 2 capable goalies that we can put in each and every night and know that they're going to help us win. They've certainly bailed us out on many occasions, that's for sure. And, you know, I don't say we have a starter and a backup. I say we got 1A and 1A. You know, we got two top-tier goaltenders here that, you know, it's exciting, and we're looking forward to having them both back in the lineup for the remainder of the season.
How do you make that determination who gets to start? I know some coaches, they'll say, hey, this goalie's going to go until we lose a game, whether it's his fault or not. That's been one system I've seen. I've seen some
I go
coaches.
by my gut.
Yeah.
Gut feeling. It could be, I talk to the goalies, talk to the team. Maybe one goaltender has more success against a certain team. You know, there's a lot that plays into it. And you could go by, hey, we do have a standing rule between both of them that we've acknowledged. You get a shutout, you stay in the net, you don't give it up. You know, and I've always been a big believer in that. Throughout my career. I've seen guys where they got in a shutout and didn't play the next game, and I'd always wonder why the goalie didn't play. He just shut the team out. So I'm a big believer in that. And you know, like I said, we're real happy to have both of these guys manning the pipes for us, and looking forward to tomorrow's game and the final kick here in the playoffs.
You folks can take a chance now to congratulate. He's talking about shutouts. Remember, Nick had back-to-back shutouts earlier this season. First pro shutouts coming from the college ranks in Bowling Green. Talk a little bit about that adjustment of Bowling Green and the CCHA. I mean, that's major Division I college hockey. What's been the biggest difference between that and adjusting to minor league pro hockey?
College is a lot more like system-oriented, I think, and a lot more like defensive. I think here it's more about like possession and like kind of flow, whereas there it's kind of chip the puck in, battle it out in the corner type hockey.
So how does that impact the goalie? I mean, I can see how it might.
Patience, being more patient. I think that was probably the biggest adjustment. Definitely have to be more aware of where guys are on the ice. In college it was kind of yeah, like systems, like you kind of expect it where people are. Here it's kind of, you just have to have your habits sort of motivation. You guys can.
It's a very good way of saying it's scrambling. At times.
Yeah. Now, have you always wanted to be a goalie? You're from Michigan, right? Big hockey country there. When did you start playing hockey?
Ice hockey? I was a...
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about.
I played roller hockey. I started off playing roller hockey for a while.
Were you a goalie in roller hockey?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I started playing ice hockey when I was a Pee-wee, second year Pee-wee. I don't know how old I was.
12 years old? So that's kind of a late start. I mean, you know, you think most kids start, most kids seem to start, you know, 5, 6 years old.
So I played roller hockey for like 2 or 3 years. I really started when I was like 8 when I was playing roller hockey. And my dad got me into ice hockey. He's like, oh, why don't you try it? And I was like, I love roller hockey. And I was like, no, whatever. He was like, we'll just try it, see how you like it. And I ended up loving it, so never went back.
And you've been a goalie all the time?
Well, I played forward too until I was like 14, 13.
And then was it a coach's choice? Did a goalie not show up? I mean, I've heard guys that...
Well, yeah, we had 2 goalies, and each goalie played every other game, and then, like, the games that I wouldn't be playing, I would just play forward. And then, when I would play, I would play goalie, obviously, and then after that year, I played, I want to say, bands, maybe, I played like that, and then my dad was kind of like, you know, you got to make a decision and focus on one or the other, and ended up choosing goalie. I guess the rest is history.
How about you, Kiefer? Talk a little bit about your hockey career being from British Columbia. Did you start like the Canadian kids at the age of 2 or whatever?
Yeah, I started figure skating, well, can skating, I guess they called it, which was just the basic fundamentals of skating from 2 till 5.
You said can skating?
Can skate, they call it. It's
Never heard that.
Canadian term, probably, but
have you heard it, Jeff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Have you ever heard it yet? It must be Canadian then, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, at 5, I started playing hockey. I started as a forward, a natural-born goal scorer. Yeah, it wasn't until my third year, I believe, where well, I thought the goalie pads were pretty cool, and I wanted to try it out. And everybody was kind of rotating throughout goalie, and I went in for one game, and I ended up having one of those really lucky games that everything hits you. And so everybody wanted me to keep playing goalie, and I didn't know any better at the time, so I just kept playing, and I guess, 15 years later, I'm still in.
Now, you said a phrase there that people could take out of context, and I think they would apply it to most goalies. I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
That's, why would you want to be a goalie and let people shoot, frozen missiles at you at 85 to 100 miles an hour?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make a lot of sense when you think about it like that.
It's almost like you draw the short straw in the neighborhood. It's like, you gotta play goalie. Kind of like it.
Yeah, but yeah, you know what? Once you, when you have a passion for it, I mean, I don't know what it is, but you just fall in love with it, and you really start to study the game, and it's a completely different sport, really. It's
a sport within a sport. Yeah, for sure.
Does that scare you a little bit, the way they said that together?
That's good. That's good. No, they're totally right. It's a sport within a sport, because and I'll say this, back when we were all kids, goalie pads were cool. I wanted to play goalie once. Well, I got bored.
Just once.
One time that happened. I don't even know if I finished the game, but I do recall when I was bored, the play was down at the other end, and I was skating around behind the net. And they shot the puck straight down in for a goal. And, oh, forget it. I didn't want to play goal after that. So I know it's a sport within a sport, and you got to be very mentally tough to play goal. You can go at times, 4, 5, 6, 7 minutes without a shot.
Kiefer.
Yeah, for instance, the second period there, I hardly had any action, and yeah, it's a mental battle with yourself, really, to stay into it in those types of games, and then other games where you're getting a lot of shots, you're feeling really into it, but then you gotta battle with the mental fatigue from it. So it's constant up and down mental roller coaster, but it's maybe that's what it is that makes it so special for guys like us.
Both you guys started as playing forwards. I've heard people say, oh, if I was going to play hockey, I'd be a goalie because I wouldn't have to worry about skating that well. I've also heard people say goalies have to be the best skaters on the team. I'm sure you guys would say that, sure.
Yeah.
I'm unbelievable at skating.
I mean, once in a while, like, I'll throw on player skates just for shinny and whatnot, and yeah, I think goalies can move pretty good. When you're skating for so many years with those pads on, you end up being pretty fast once you take them off. So.
I always used to hear the number 40 pounds for weight of goalie equipment. It's probably changed over the years, but what would you say? I mean, equipment weighs now that you put on the pads and the chest.
We have a scale in the locker room, and one of the games Kiefer was playing, I stepped on it before we went out in the second period. It was 50 pounds.
It was 50 pounds over your body weight.
Stuff on.
Yeah.
Helmet, gloves,
Helmet.
pads, skates, everything.
So 50 pounds, and you still got to move lightly, quick, and all of that. This league doesn't have the goalie trapezoid behind the nets that keeps goalies from going and trapping pucks in the corner, to allow teams to forecheck and everything. You guys like that? Did they have that in college? Have you ever played with that trapezoid? So.
College they didn't have it, no. I've never played with it. They have it in the East Coast, they play with it.
Right.
I've never played the game, but I feel like it might be almost easier, because it kind of just, it almost like makes a decision for you. If there's a loose puck in the corner, like, well, I can't go get it, so don't really need to think about it. But, I mean, obviously you can go back and stop behind the net and try and help your defenseman out.
Yeah. Probably the same for you. I mean, did the juniors have it?
No, I've never had to deal with it, but I think it would probably be safer for me in the long run sometimes. Just keep me in my little area. Don't venture too far out of it.
Oh, I mean, again, that's such a split-second decision. You know, can you describe to anybody how you make that choice? Do I go out and try to play the puck, or do I wait, lay back?
You just, if you want to go get it, you have to go get it. And if you think about it for longer than that, probably
You're toast. It's not going to end well, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The best thing for a goalie is just to not think. You know, just shut the mind off and just go on instincts usually. So.
Yeah.
Now, forwards and defensemen think that about goalies all the time too. They just don't think, right?
Coaches.
Favorite goalies growing up that you maybe patterned yourself after, or?
Nick, you know?
I love Fleury.
Marc-Andre Fleury? Did you? Anybody?
Growing up, I was always a Martin Brodeur fan, and then now as I've kind of been getting older and studying the game a little more, I start to respect other guys, Patrick Waugh, Nicholas Backstrom, current goalie that I really like. And, yeah, I was always, being from British Columbia, I was a Kirk McLean fan as well. So yeah, there's quite a few guys actually throughout the years.
Any great Red Wings? I'm from Michigan. I'm assuming you're a Red Wings fan. Somewhat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't really follow anyone hardcore. I'm more of I like watching players and good games, I guess.
So who are some of the favorite players? And you mentioned Marc-Andre Fleury as a goalie. Do you have other players that you like?
I like watching that too. I mean, mostly goalies. Whenever there's two good goalies playing each other, I love watching those games.
So fans like to watch a 6-5 game. You guys are the throwbacks. You like the 1-0 games?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a lot of shots, of course.
Yeah. Shootouts. Like shootouts?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a relatively new rule to hockey.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Points wise.
Oh yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, I'm talking about the actual shootout. To decide the game.
Yeah. I mean, each team gets a point. It's a tie, so why not for the fans? Make it interesting. I mean, yeah, you might lose points, but
You're not. In a way, you don't lose the point. It's just
right.
it's the other team
They
winning the
get
point.
nice one, or
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's good. Yeah.
In a shootout, do you want your team to shoot first, so that then you know what you've got to do? I mean, you got to stop the guy anyway. you want the Serbs to shoot first?
Yeah, I don't know. I try not to think too much into it. I love shootouts when we win, but I don't like them so much when we don't win. Yeah, but also being a Canucks fan, Roberto Luongo isn't that great at shootouts either, so I don't like them in that area. But yeah, I don't know. It can go either way with shootouts. I mean, one team could be a softer team in the game, but they could have some really skilled forwards that can bury the puck in them. So yeah, I would like to see it maybe a 3-on-3 than a shootout, just so the game can be a little more wide open in overtime. A few more games would end in overtime, and then the shootout for the fans afterwards if it's still not over.
Yeah. Now you mentioned being from British Columbia and Vancouver Canucks fan. 2 weeks ago we had James Isaac and Tyler Ruel here, and we got into a little bit of a discussion about the Stanley Cup final this past year. Are you sick of hearing about it from Campbell and Grant, the Boston guys?
No, they don't bug me too hard about it. That's an area I try to avoid talking to them.
Now what about, Jeff says his decision is a gut feeling. What about, I don't know if competition's the right word, between you two? You guys seem like you've gotten to be good friends. You didn't know each other before this season, did you?
No.
In spite of the fact you grew up idolizing them. So, goalies, it's, only one guy can play goal. The defensemen, the forwards, they know they're going to get their ice time, but I'm sure you're pulling for Kiefer and likewise, because it's all for the team. But how do you handle that?
Well, I've seen it go either way. I mean, I've had goalies goalie partners that I haven't got along with so well, and it's not the way to go because it's about the team, and you know, whoever's got the hot hand should be playing, and you know, Nick and I have a good relationship, and it's healthy competition. I think we both push each other and we both help each other.
For sure.
And yeah, I mean, even in practice, I'll ask Nick if I'm letting in some goals. He's watching me, he's helping me, and vice versa.
Yeah. We definitely, I mean, like you said, whoever has the hot hand kind of thing. I mean, I'm not going to get mad if he's playing well and coach plays him because he's playing well. That makes sense. I mean, yeah, like we help each other out. We sit and talk about different situations and stuff. So I think it's good. Obviously, you want to play every game, but
Would you think it's maybe the most pressurized position in sports? Possibly a quarterback in football, but I mean, I know.
Pitcher in baseball.
Yeah. But the great, you know, one of the great goaltenders of all time, Jacques Plante, once said, "How would you like it if every time you made a mistake at work, somebody turned on a light behind you and 15,000 people started screaming at you?" You know, which was how he described, you know, the pressures of being a goaltender. You know, I mean, you guys get your share of the glory. You make a big save and everybody cheers for you. You know.
yeah, I mean, it goes along with, I mean, pitcher in baseball, quarterback in football. It's all kind of the same thing. You know, the spotlight's on you. Other guys can kind of maybe like hide a little bit because there's 5 other guys on the ice, but when they score on you, you know, everyone's like looking at you like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of coaches say that. And Jeff, I don't know if you feel this way, that even if a goalie gives up a soft goal, the coach will pick the goalie up and say, "Hey, you know what? That guy got through 5 other guys before he got to the goalie." You know, on a Sunrise dump it may not be the same thing. You guys see an empty net at the other end, especially like the other night, when you're up by 2 goals. You've got a little leeway and a little breathing room there. You don't maybe have to worry about an icing call so much. Yeah. He doesn't want to hear the question, but he might want to hear the answer, you know.
Yeah.
You think about shooting it toward the empty net if you get a chance?
I want to lie because coach is here, but I won't lie. It did cross my mind.
And it should.
Yeah. I actually, one time in juniors, there was a face-off in our end, and it got 1 to me. And I fired it out of the end right away, and I didn't realize that their goalie was actually pulled, and it missed the net by about a foot. And ever since, I've kind of had that thought, want to score a goal.
It's definitely a dream of mine to score a goal as a goalie. But when we were playing in Michigan, actually, Brian Hogan, he plays in the CHL now. We were losing 3-1, and one of the guys on our team, he's actually really good at playing the puck. One of the guys on our team dumped the puck into him, dropped it down, shot it up over everyone, and it hit the post. And Yost was like going insane.
Yeah.
But it was, I definitely thought about it before I scored.
I was going to say, so that's something that...
If it's 1 goal, it's kind of risky, but I got like 2.
Yeah, because you don't want to give up an icing call. So you have a question for Nick or Kiefer? Again, if you have a question at any point, just raise your hand. This is the quietest I've heard Luke Bates since I got to know him. Since I moved here. It's like, holy cow, you know. So, off the ice, what do goalies like to do? I mean, you don't sacrifice little animals, right? Or anything like that. You're not that weird.
No, we don't do that. We try to pretend we're as normal as possible. It's tough sometimes, but no, we just
Play other sports? I mean,
yeah, I like to play recreational tennis. I wouldn't say I'm any good at it, but it's fun. I don't know. I think we just hang out with the rest of the team and do everything as normal as possible.
Yeah, you're making it sound like these 2 guys sitting out over there.
but that,
Up in here now.
How about you, Nick? I mean, a lot of hockey guys I know are big golfers.
Yeah, golf. I like to play. I actually got pretty big into it this past summer. Got a set of golf clubs for Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been big into like watching documentaries and stuff.
So you get the golf clubs, and then you have to go up to Wheeling, West Virginia. I don't know what the temperature's like up there. I mean,
Yeah, it was pretty cold. It actually snowed a couple days while I was there.
so you're like, let me get back down to the coast where I can use
Yeah.
those clubs.
Yeah, well, I actually went out with my dad the day after Christmas, and then went there, and I didn't even think I was going to see snow this winter, but it's all right.
Yeah. So you like to golf, and you mentioned tennis. Do you golf at all, Kiefer?
During the summer, I'll go, but I usually spend more time at the beer garden. Again, coaches here.
Jeff talked a little bit about the mental aspect of being a goalie and how you stay focused when the play's at the other end of the ice. What about just the physical aspect of being on the ice for the whole 60 minutes? You know, you're moving, you don't ever get the chance to sit down or anything like that. That's got to be pretty exhausting, I would think.
It's a little draining, but I mean, obviously you get used to it as time goes on, playing it for a while, especially as the season goes on. And maybe the first couple games are a little bit more difficult mentally than, later on in the season after you've gone through it a while.
Yeah. What about superstitions? I mean, Patrick Wall used to talk to the goalpost. You talked about him, and things like that. Now we'll get into if you guys have any idiosyncrasies or anything like that.
I just kind of go through like a routine. I don't really call it a superstition. I don't do anything weird out of the ordinary. But
I've heard of some goalies, they'll dress their whole right side first, and then they put on the left side instead of putting one pad on or the other or whatever. You're nodding, you've heard about that? Or?
Yeah, I have. I have a superstition not to tell anybody my superstition.
What goes on in the room stays in the room, right? And everything.
That goes along with pretending to be normal.
How about, do you like to know how far in advance if you're going to get the start? I mean, especially in this situation, it's a gut feeling. I mean, do you try to let them know the night before? Or?
Yeah, coach is really good at that.
I want them to prepare for each game that both of them are going to play. I know they want it differently. At times I've told them at different times when they're playing. But I want both goalies to prepare themselves and to be ready in case one might get injured. You never know.
Or might get into a fight.
Oh, might get into a fight. Our guys might not be the smartest guys in pregame warm-ups, and they like to take high shots off the collarbones, stuff like that. And that hurts. I'm telling you, that hurts. I see the welts on these guys, the bruises that they get. I know it hurts. So I want them both prepared. We'll leave it at that. No, I do. And you can go both ways with that. I'm learning too. I've asked their advice on things with goalies. I'm not a goalie. I don't know what makes a goalie tick. I don't know if I want to. I just want them to stop the puck. But they do a good job. So yeah, that's why I'm both to be ready. And they both are. I haven't said it today, but I'll tell you what. Both these guys here are my hardest workers in practice, hardest workers on the ice. And they push each other. As Kiefer has said, they really do push each other and they help each other out, and it's good to see.
And for those of you who haven't been to some of our other visits here, Jeff has made that comment in the past with others. See, we got witnesses here. Talked about Nick and Kiefer in that way. Talk a little bit about, you didn't get a lot of action, but Corey, he did well for you. He came in and performed when he had to, and you've got nothing bad to say in your whole
No,
yeah.
Corey's he's a great kid. He came in, hence my whole thought process and having both goalies prepare themselves for a game. As Kiefer got kicked out for fisticuffs, and he was ready. And he came in and he did a good job. He's a very good goalie. He's extremely quick on his legs. Has a good glove hand. But I told these guys at the start of the year, you guys made the team. We're gonna go with this, and You know, obviously gave Kiefer a chance to play more games when Nick got called up, and you do have to have 2 goalies on the roster. Corey had played a little bit in Huntsville, and he was available to come in, which certainly helped us out. And actually, didn't you play against him or with him, Kiefer?
Yeah, actually, Corey, when I was 16, I went to a goalie camp, and Corey was my coach there, actually. So.
The goaltending coach?
Yeah, he was
Okay.
my goalie coach there. He had just started playing college at Union, and I got to know him real well that week and a half or something. And yeah, no, I mean, Corey, like Coach said, he's a great goalie, great guy, great team guy in the room, and you know, you can't say enough good things about him. Really, he was really good. We had a good relationship as well, and we pushed each other in practice as well. And yeah, best of luck to him.
Yeah, and then as a side note, Corey did get picked up today on waivers by Pensacola. Yeah.
Let's see, we don't play them for a while yet. February 10th will be the next time that...
Kiefer, you know what to do.
Oh, he's mentioned that he knew Corey and he had Eric Hudson in this league. Are you familiar with any of the other goalies in this league? I realize coming from the CCHA, some of those guys may be...
Kobe, your order's ready.
Yeah, I'm actually really good friends with Darling. Yeah,
Scott Brown?
yeah, we've been pretty close for probably like 4 years now. So.
Did he go to Bowling Green or where did you...
No, I met him out east in a goalie camp that we did every summer. We actually played against each other in the Eastern Junior Hockey League when we were playing juniors, and then he went to USHL into Maine, and then we lived with each other for 4 summers over in Massachusetts. We skated it was 8 weeks long. We skated twice a week, and then we would run goalie camps all summer with little kids. And yeah, we just got pretty close then.
Now, a goalie camp obviously is geared just toward helping the goaltenders. I mean, so what kinds of different drills and things do they do at a goalie camp that would be different from a typical disc hockey camp?
Should I take this one?
Well, I'm kind of glad you came back to that, actually, because like you had mentioned before, you know, some people think of goaltending as a position where you don't really skate or don't really move in, and it's actually the complete opposite. I mean, different type of skating, but our crease movements, you know, the way we move back and forth in our crease and down and up and our slides and whatnot, that's all technique, and there's a whole strategy behind that. And basically, in a goalie camp, that's what we would practice is, you know, our cross crease movements and whatnot, and getting shots from different areas and getting across the net as quickly as possible.
Try to simulate as many like game-like situations that could happen. I mean, there's all kinds, but you know, you see a line rush for a 3-on-2, or you see a 2-on-1, and you see a pass out, you know, to the top of the circle and shot, like just different scenarios that you know you see a lot.
Now, what about communication? I think that's got to be key for goalies, and have to be talking a lot. You know, you see a line rush, a 2-on-1 come down. Are you yelling at the defenseman, take the pass, or you know, you go to the puck guy? And
I mean, it obviously depends on you know where the guy is and you know different scenarios. And the defensemen are usually pretty good at determining how to play that. But generally, yes, the goalie takes the shooter. Right? Yeah, the defenseman takes the pass away, kind of closes on him as the guy gets in closer.
both of you guys, I mean, some goalies I'm sure are constantly talking and in their teammates' ears, and probably to a point where they want them to say shut up, or are you guys in the middle there? Or?
Yeah, well, you know, coach really wants us to work on that a lot more.
Yeah.
And sometimes the defensemen don't hear us.
Obviously, so you're talking, it's just the coach doesn't hear you?
Oh, I'm not the one that needs to hear them. I'd like to hear them, so that means they're talking loud enough. But the defensemen need to hear them. You know, they got the set of eyes, they got the whole play in front of them.
Exactly, yeah.
So I'd like them to talk a little
Definitely,
bit
when
more.
they're skating back for the puck, I mean, you're always yelling at them, you know, if they have time, guys are on them, you know, rim it, or whatever, all different kinds of things. Let them know. Because, I mean, they have their back to the play, and you can see what's going on.
You have to be the eyes in the back of their head.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, I think for us, we could both
sometimes you get so absorbed in the puck, which is your primary job, right? Sometimes you forget to.
Yeah, today I actually discovered that I have a really hard time, well, like, at least on the line rushes, like, we did a 2-on-1 drill today in practice, and Nick was like, started talking to Claren, and I was like, okay, I was like, alright. And I started, like, telling him, like, what to do, and I just couldn't really, I was having a tough time stopping the puck, so I need to work on that. Talking while the play's coming at me. It's easier when I'm not, like, don't have to focus on the guy, like, shooting it, but
It's multitasking.
yeah. Like Kiefer was saying, you're, like, so into the zone, like, you kind of, I don't know.
Well, you have to be focused on the puck and
Yeah.
everything. Some goalies are very comfortable getting out, and when kind of comes back into the whole Trapezoid thing, getting out, handling the puck, they almost act like a third defenseman. Do you see that as a part of your game?
No.
No.
No, I think that's probably one of the weakest points in my game. I just try to keep it simple, you know, pucks run around, stop it, have the defenseman come pick it up, but I'm not trying to make outlet passes or anything like that.
Yeah.
Kiefer?
Yeah, that's something I've always tried to improve on, and you know I do all right at it for the most part, I think, but I'm not by any means a puck handling goaltender. I just try to keep it simple and do my job, and if I get the opportunity to do something out of the ordinary and the right play, then I'll try to make it. So.
Yeah. So, it's I just admire, you know, the position and what you guys do with all the equipment, the mask, and everything. You guys have watched film, I guess, and all that. Can you imagine players used to play goal without masks? I mean, you've seen pictures of that, I guess, and everything. I mean, can you even begin to imagine that nowadays?
Nowadays, probably not with Chara shooting 180 miles an hour or whatever. It's probably not recommended anymore. But I've always wanted to try it out. You know, with players obviously not shooting as hard as they do now, but I think it would kind of be cool. You wouldn't have the mask obstructing you, and you could breathe a little better. It might be, and I'm pretty sure if you had a puck coming straight at your head. With no mask on, your hands might get a little faster too. So.
Maybe that's a drill now. Okay, guys, leave the helmets on the bench. Little skin. Yesterday was the NHL All-Star game. Goaltender's nightmare. Low scoring game yesterday compared to what we've had recently. There were only 21 goals scored in the All-Star game this year, 12-9. It's like, do you think, why bother? Should they just put up maybe one of the wooden boards or whatever? I mean, because these guys, the goalies, are, you know, the best in the world, and they get out here on a stage where maybe people don't get a chance to see them perform elsewhere. And they think, well, gosh, that guy's not a very good goalie. I mean, look at how many goals he gave up.
I think they expect it. I mean, it's more fun for the players. Like, they're not going real hard. Like, the fans want to see more goals, more offense. So I don't think the defensemen are really trying as hard.
Well, yeah, I mean,
So
I don't think there's been a body check in an All-Star game since
Yeah,
1974,
exactly.
right? You know?
So
Is it unfair to the goalies, though, in the NHL?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
You think people just expect
Like, I watched an interview with Jimmy Howard, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna try and keep it under 5 today." You know, so I think they kind of going with a good attitude. I mean, if they're going in trying to stop every shot, then they might get a little frustrated. But I mean, I don't think that's the case. So.
It does go to show that even the best goalies in the world, if their D-men aren't trying, they're going to get scored on. So it's not all our fault.
There you go. Obviously, the team has a long trip tomorrow. If you guys have any questions for Kiefer or Nick that everybody might be interested in, you got a question back there? No? Because we're gonna let these guys wrap up and get on the bus. But we thank you guys for coming out. Burgers were okay?
Fantastic.
Yeah, there you go. So, any questions? Last chance here for Nick and Kiefer. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you guys for your time. We'll be back here 2 weeks from tonight, talking about hopefully a lot more Surge wins. Thanks a lot, guys, and good luck the rest of the way.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys. That was fun. That's good.